Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Check This Book Out podcast. I'm Madeline Bookout, hockey romance lover.
And I'm Hannah Bookout, sports romance lover.
And I'm MJ Hughes, a hockey romance writer.
That's right.
And this is the Check This Book Out podcast where we talk about fantasy and romance books. And we have a very special guest.
Everybody meet MJ. She is a hockey romance writer from Oklahoma. And she currently has two books out, What If and What Now. And we have been so excited to interview her and get her on the podcast. It was a very bookish meet cute, if you will.
It was.
A modern romance. We are really excited to have you, MJ. Thanks for joining us. For those who watch and listen, this is our first interview. And so literally what a great opportunity it is to have you here.
Yeah,
Well,
really.
thanks for letting me be here. I'm super excited that we could connect on TikTok and get this started.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The power of social media.
No, truly.
Really.
It has its pros and cons for sure. This is definitely a pro.
All right. Well, MJ, we always ask our guests on the podcast, what's your favorite book or series? And do you have a favorite book boyfriend?
Mm. I think right now my favorite series, you guys said that you love sports and hockey romance, and maybe you've read her. Chelsea, and I always butcher her last name. I say Ketro. That may be incorrect, but she
Okay.
writes the DC Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also an indie author, so just super one, I just kind of like admire her, just seeing like the success she's had. So I would say her book series is definitely my favorite right now. And she also houses one of my favorite book boyfriends, which is her latest release, and his name is Riley, and he is just very like slutty glasses man, like crawl to me, and I love him. I love him.
Crawl to me.
That's so fun.
That's so good. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I would
Love
definitely
that.
recommend 10 out of 10 if you haven't read any of her books yet. She's amazing.
I have not, but
It's
I've heard of the DC
Stars,
is it? DC
DC
Stars?
Stars, yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
been on
she's
my want to read in Goodreads for a really long time.
Mm.
So
I definitely recommend it. She's actually, I think it's really cool. It's just kind of one of those things also, like her journey is this inspiration because she also just got picked up trad for a whole new
oh my
book,
God.
which is super
Oh,
awesome. So, yeah, really cool.
sweet.
That's really
Good for
exciting.
them.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love hearing success stories like that. Like
Yeah.
it's already such a big deal to I think even enter the writing space and then to see like all your hard work pay off. Like that's
Yeah.
good for her. Way to
Yep.
go, Chelsea. Congrats.
All right. Well, I think we can kick this episode off for real now.
Yes.
We're going to start off with some icebreakers.
Yeah, some would you rathers.
Yes. Okay. Here is my first would you rather. Would you rather write a slow burn that takes 400 pages or a fast burn that happens in chapter 3?
Oh, God. Unfortunately, I think I have a type and it's slow burn. My first book is a super slow burn, and this one, my third book that releases next spring, is also kind of a slow burn. Um, but I would say I'm kind of either or, but I tend to go more towards the slow burn. And I think that's like for me, I think part of that is just because that's how their story falls. Reading
Mhm.
wise, I'm definitely okay with a falling hard and fast. But I
Mhm.
think just for like my stories, it's been very slow burn.
And you
Love
know what? I
that.
love a slow burn personally. As a
Yeah.
reader, I
Yeah.
eat that up every time.
Mhm. You know what? I have to commend you though, because slow burns and like contemporary romances that are pretty short typically, that's hard to do.
Mhm.
So,
It's
And I feel
definitely
like
sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you first.
Well, I was gonna say it's also definitely kind of it was a concern of mine, like, are readers gonna stay for the entire slow burn? You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that is a little fearful because you don't want it to be full of nothing for like those first
Mhm.
400 pages where readers are like, what am I reading? So it's definitely like having to
mhm.
find a balance, which can be super tricky sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
For sure.
sure. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of romance authors right now are getting like heat from readers for like romances happening too fast. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
a big complaint I see all over book talk. Not that
Yeah.
so,
The
but
the insta love.
yes. Yeah.
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 I also, like, when I wrote my first book, I was like, I want it to be, and it's complete, and I always tell myself, I'm like, it's complete fiction. I can make up whatever I want and do
Right.
whatever I want. But at the same time, I'm like, I still want it to be realistic where readers aren't going to be like, what? This would never happen.
Yeah.
And for my first book, it was very like, will they, won't they? Which I feel like in college is a very legitimate thing. Like, well, am I going to tell her? Am I not going to tell her? So
Mhm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a risk. And I also go into it with the mindset of not everyone loves slow burn, and that's okay.
That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, you have to think about anything that you create or put out into the ether, like your goal is to have a target audience.
Mhm.
You're not going to find whatever you put out, not everybody's going to love it and like that's not going to be their thing. I have to
Mm-hmm.
remind myself that so much with Hannah and I, like the whole point of creating something is to find the right people
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you can't please everybody and ultimately the people that you do please are the people that you want like consuming your content.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it is a hard balance though.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, I have one. Would you rather draft a whole book by hand or revise only using voice to text?
Oh my
God,
gosh.
that's such like um oh Lord. I would probably say by hand. Just
That's probably what
because
I picked too.
Yeah.
when I actually first started my writing process, it was by hand. Like I did all of my drafts, like my outlines by hand, and I was like, "Wow, this is how like weird I was." I was like, "Let's do it by hand, and then I'll convert it to writing." I'm like, "Why would I not just write it, like type it in the first place?" Like that made no sense to me. But I would say definitely if I had to choose, probably by hand. Um, just because I would definitely get lost in my thought of like voice texting and it would just be not, it would make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
like punctuation is so hard for voice to text.
Yeah.
Our mom
Yeah,
pretty much exclusively does voice text and it's just totally unreadable. So,
yeah. I feel like it definitely doesn't capture the like the way I'm saying it, or like the way I'm
mhm.
meaning it is just like so
Mm-hmm.
bland. And yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Is it part of your writing process reading out loud though? Because I know when you're in high school and college, like they'll tell you read your papers out loud, like that'll help you find mistakes and also make you hear like the tone of your writing.
For this third book, yes, I've especially not the whole book, but I would say sentences where I'm like a little iffy of like how does this sound to a reader? It does help for me to read it out loud because then I'm like, okay, how does it flow? That's the biggest thing. In my mind, it
Mhm.
could flow great for me, but when someone else is reading it, like how would it flow? And so I would say yes, which also like in turn hearing my audiobook for the first one has really helped me be like wow, I sometimes I love what I'm writing and then the second I'm like "Ugh." I'm like you can see where I've grown, which is awesome, but it
Yeah.
definitely puts it into like a new perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody else read it for you? Like, have you had your husband read like a sentence or something?
um Not by my request. He came into our kitchen one day. He came into our kitchen one day and had my one of my spicy scenes and was reading that. It's like I said, "Please stop." I said, like,
Oh
it's
That
my
one
is
thing for
so
gosh.
me.
funny.
I was like, it's one thing for me to write it, but then hearing someone I know reading it, I was like, "This funny."
Oh my gosh.
That's
So
really
that's
funny.
yeah, that was to the extent that that went. But he actually kind of like a funny story. He at his work, his friend male friend's wife had bought my book and he brought it to work and read that same scene to the office. So I'm so lucky that I was not there because I would have been so red and embarrassed.
Oh my gosh, I would have to exit. I would have to leave.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my gosh.
wow.
Yep. So I'm free advertisement, I guess.
No, truly. Okay, found somebody. somebody out there was
Yeah.
listening was like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah. Heck
right.
yeah.
That's right."
Yeah,
That's so
but
funny.
that is definitely to the extent where that goes.
One of the
Wow.
only ways that I can convince, like, Nolan, my husband, to go to the bookstore with me is, like, he likes to walk around and follow me in the romance section and, like, pick books off the shelves and, like, see what page he can open to on the first try and, like, be reading a smut scene,
Oh
and
gosh.
that's just, like, a game he likes to play, and I hate it. I personally hate it. But I was like, at the same time, if you wanna drive me to the bookstore, like, I shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. That's funny.
All right. Well, I think now we can just get into the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think first off, MJ, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself to the pod? Kind of tell everybody what you've written, what you're writing, maybe where you're from, just a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am born and raised in Oklahoma. So I actually grew up in a very small town. And I always really loved reading. It used to be like Hank the Cowdog and Goosebumps. Now it's definitely matured to the spice. But I always also loved writing. English was always my favorite subject. And when I gotten into college, I kind of like had this like playful idea of I wanted to eventually write a book. And I actually really started with a mystery, like a thriller romance.
Hmm.
And it's still
Hmm.
like in the back of my, it was Wattpad days. I don't know if you guys remember Wattpad.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Surely we
Big
do.
fan.
Yeah. So it was my Wattpad days. And of course, like life just got busy and I kind of lost my love for reading there for a little bit with like everything that was going on, just, trying to find your work, like your career and graduating and whatnot. Um, And then I remember Christmas break of 2023, I read my first hockey romance and was like hooked. And it was actually Elle Kennedy's Off Campus series, which is becoming a
Mm.
TV show, as we all know, which I'm super
Yes, so
excited about.
Mm-hmm.
excited.
And when I read it, I was like, man, I love reading it. I was like, I want to try writing one. And so my River Road series just kind of came to, and I knew that I wanted it to be standalones because I've been super into those recently. And so I kind of just came up with this whole concept of like the world that I wanted. I knew I wanted there to be 4 books in the series, and like what each trope I wanted the book to be is kind of
Mhm.
how I started. And then my characters just kind of filled in the rest. So I published my first book July of 2024. And then my second book published in April, and I'll be publishing my third book in February.
So
And I
soon.
super excited. And then I'll have my fourth book, which kind of wraps up the series, which is insane and terrifying.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Do you
kind of like,
already do you already have ideas for other stories, or, like, are you just focused on this series, and is it hard to keep yourself focused on just, like, one story?
as far as like writing, I am very like I know several authors who can just plot and write different books as they go. I am very like my brain is very honed into like one project at a time. And I think part of that's just like a fear of mine that I want to do justice for like my characters and what I'm writing, and so I love to give it my all
Mhm.
at once. Um, I do have a 2 concepts in mind for like my next series. One was actually one that I pitched at a romance convention that I went to that some agents were
Oh my
interested
god.
in and like hearing about. So, but
That's
it is like
Mm.
exciting.
it is exciting, and I know that like it could go anywhere or nowhere in that sense, but I think either way, I think it'll be kind of a special topic to me and kind of my husband and like where we grew up and came from. Um, Still romance, still like contemporary romance, but leans away from the sports and more like small town. So
So
that's kind of a
fun.
change. Um, but then I'm like, I also love my character so much, and there's such a world there where it could go further that I've also thought about that of just kind of branching out into Barker University and different
Mhm.
sports related to that.
Oh, that's so
So,
fun.
Oh.
yeah. So I kind of got
Wow.
like 2 total different concepts going, and I have considered maybe working on them at the same time in the sense of plotting and like slow rolling.
Mhm.
Um, but also I'm like, I still have a fourth book that I get to get through, so I'm like, I need to calm down.
Yeah.
One thing
But
at a time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I would have, like, writing ADHD, not be able
Oh,
to
yeah,
stay
yeah.
focused on one thing at all.
Yeah.
yeah. It can definitely, it can definitely get that way, especially if like I'm struggling on a chapter or something. Um, I'll be like, oh, I really want to start plotting this next book, but then I know myself and I'll know that if I get caught up with it, I won't focus enough to get one project done.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you have covered 2 sports already, though, because you've had hockey and cheer in your
That's
first book,
true.
and so
Yes.
which I loved because I feel like a lot of sports romances, it's usually, like, just the guy that's in the sport, you know?
Yeah.
So I was a cheerleader in high school, so I thought that was super fun. Um,
Well, and
but
it's usually like football and cheer, you know what I mean?
exactly.
And so I kind of wanted to do, I was also a cheerleader, and I think that's probably where that came from.
Mhm.
But also like I wanted kind of the same, like when you're reading, like it's a found family and like you see them interconnected, but I also wanted to make sure that all of my girls had something as well that they
Yeah.
loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so fun.
Love that. All right.
What
You
next?
next.
Let's talk about the indie writing and publishing process. And just give us kind of like the highlights, lowlights, what you want other like aspiring writers to know about that process, whatever you want to share.
Yeah. It's very, it was very daunting at first. Like writing, of course, in itself is scary, putting your work out there. But then there's so many little do's and don'ts that you learn along the way, or just like best practices that if you don't have a strong community behind you when you're first starting out, it can be very scary and hard. Um, thankfully, I don't know about Texas, but thankfully, like Oklahoma, we have a really great writing community. We have our own like romance writers guild, so they have like monthly meetings and stuff where you can go and get help and like bounce ideas back and forth. Um, but I would honestly say that if it weren't for people who just answered my random questions, and not just necessarily Oklahoma, but just the power of social media and seeing authors on TikToks and just reaching out, like, hey, what did your process? What would you recommend? And then them just being open helped me a lot in the sense of one, like, where do I start? Formatting is not just something I can do on my own, like making your book come to life. So thankfully a lot of authors were super helpful in just kind of guiding you of what they did and what they would recommend. So as for anyone who I guess is just like considering writing, building a community is so strong. And I always live by, I ask so many people questions and they helped me. And if I'm able to help someone else, I feel like that's success for me of just being able to like tell them what helped or what didn't help and things like that. Um, so I personally, I love when people ask questions because then I think that, okay, well, maybe they liked what they saw in my book or, things like that. Um, so yeah, definitely there's just so many things you can do. Like, do you want to go through Amazon or Ingram? Bolt? How do you buy your own ISBN? There's so many just little nitpicky things. And I don't think I would be where I am if it weren't for authors who helped me when I had those questions.
And I
Buying ISBN. I didn't even know you had to do that.
oh,
Yes.
what? You have to buy it?
Yes. So,
Like a
like, if
domain for a
you're
website kind of thing?
kind of similar, yes. So, like, if you are using Amazon, thankfully they will give you a free one, and which is great. You can like you can buy your own books and then sell them however you want. But if you're wanting to get into bigger bookstores or out of state bookstores like Barnes and Noble, different bigger bookstores like around the area, some of them will only purchase your book if it's through Ingram Spark, which is a huge database that bookstores use. And for them, you can't use your Amazon ISBN because they're not connected. So you basically have to buy your own ISBN for them to put on there. So,
That's
yes,
so
and you have to
weird.
do that. It is so weird. And you have to do that for any edition. So, like if I did a hardback, I would have to have two ISBNs. If I wanted
Oh,
sprayed edges on Ingram Spark, I would have to have 3. So it's very, very concise.
Do you
wow.
do you have to pay, is it something that you pay one and done, like, pay up front and then you have the ISBN forever, or do you have to pay, like, regularly?
It's one and done. And
Okay,
thankfully,
that's
like,
good.
if you're yeah, and if you're purchasing it through Ingram Spark, they do, like, give you kind of like a discounted thing, and they even have where you can buy bundles. So, like, if you know you're gonna have a series, you can buy a bundle for cheaper. Um,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, but it is definitely it's one and done unless you're doing, like, the different editions, and then you have to buy multiples.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing all the authors coming out with their sprayed edges and, all the different special deluxe editions
Yeah,
way differently now.
me too.
Yeah.
Or like Target special edition and then the Barnes& and Noble special edition.
Yeah,
Wow, that
seriously.
must get hefty, the price.
Y yeah, and for a lot of authors I see like that, of course, they have, like, traditional publishing
That's
companies
fair, that's
backing
true.
them. Thankfully for me, I actually have a gal here in Oklahoma who does sprayed edges, and so she
Oh,
makes
that's
them for
fun.
me, and yes, she does a great job. But so there's again connections, like just having that community to build off of. But yes, definitely a daunting, like Ingram Spark in itself is just a terrifying experience because you have to, it's kind of like one and done. Like you have 30 days to fix your book once it's published on there. But past that, if you need to make any changes, you have to buy another ISBN to do so. So,
Oh, shoot.
Mm.
yeah, definitely
That
kind
is
of a,
scary.
yes. But I will say, I think so far, like my husband looks at everything as in like you're investing, which is amazing. He's so supportive, which I love. Um, but I have like since being on Ingram Spark, I have gotten into some out of state bookstores. Like I'm in a few in Kansas, and I've actually done 3 Barnes and Noble signings here in Oklahoma. So
So fun.
you see it being able to help you, but it's definitely like an investment type thing, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we get
Oh,
that.
yeah, we
Yeah.
totally understand.
Ah,
Yeah, it's nice to see it pay off though, like, that's so rewarding, the Barnes& and Noble signings is, I feel like that's a big milestone.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
and I also didn't realize how much work it was to even get your books in stores, like, I understand procurement and probably from the bookstore side than
mhm,
the author side, so that's just, like, a whole process, like, if there's so many moving parts that you have to keep track of, so
Mhm.
yeah. It's. I
and then you have to
thought I was
market
like.
yourself.
No, literally, that's where I was going. It's like, I thought when I wrote a book, I was like, "Oh, I'll write it, and then I'll advertise, and, it'll be great." But it's really, like, 3 full-time jobs. I work full-time outside of my writing, so there's my first, and then the second is writing in itself, and you are literally a content creator for the third. Like, it is so which, I mean, of course, you have to, like, if you're not advertising, you're not getting out there.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that was one thing I wasn't quite aware of is how much time would go into it, making TikToks, Facebook, Instagram. So, emailing all of these bookstores you find, just trying to get your book out there. Um, so that was also a big kind of, I would say, wake up call. Like, oh my gosh, this is another full time job of just
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, I'm
Mhm.
sure. Even just the social media alone, like, that is an extra job, I would say,
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
probably, yeah, for y'all too. I mean, you're always having to, like make clips of your videos and stuff and advertising on TikTok because I see you guys on there all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely rewarding. I love it and whatnot, but it is you have to be very like cautious or time management is a big thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And priorities, trying to
Mhm.
figure out, "Hey, like, is this actually that important in my personal life? Like, am I neglecting things?" I feel like that's something that I've had to learn, and also, like, because we coexist in this podcast, having to, like, remind myself we have different responsibilities and, like, am I being unfair to Hannah and expectations of, like, her job and her life outside of,
Mhm.
the podcast, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
No,
things to think about.
Mhm.
100%. And I would say that if like if anyone's listening to this, it may sound really scary to do like the processes and stuff. But again, I will say it's been like the most rewarding thing so far is like putting your work out there and seeing that it's not just your family that likes your work. Like, it's
Mhm.
I would say probably with my second book, my readers base has grown. Like I've seen it grown a little bit, which is awesome. Like I'm at that point now where like when I'm at signings, I'm getting return, like people who's read the first
Oh.
one and they're coming to get the second. And then towards the end, it was more of like, well, I have your books. I'm just waiting for your third. So
Oh,
it's,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Love
So it's
that.
definitely like it has its great moments. I wouldn't trade the journey for anything, even when it's stressful or a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
I have another question. Kind of walk me through um what is your like writing process like when you like sit down to write? Are you writing chapter by chapter? Are you editing in between or are you editing at the end? Like kind of what's like your whole process when it comes to that? I'm curious.
Yeah. I am a very um I follow my outline to the T. And this third book I kind of really struggled, and I think that was one. They called it, oh my god, imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
kind of big for my third book, just in the sense of like, okay, I've written two, and people liked them, and now I feel like I have this expectation that the third needs to be better. Um, so it was kind of a struggle for me with the third book of putting like my ideas on paper. And I actually went to a romance convention and learned some different like techniques about plotting and whatnot. And so I've kind of started following, it's called like Planter, which is you are kind of like flying by the seat of your pants, but you're also like planning. And so it really helped. What I've started doing is I break my book up into scenes, and then I will plot that entire, like maybe it consists of 10 chapters. I'll plot those 10 chapters, flush them out the best I can, and then I write those 10 chapters. And then once I'm finished, then I plot the next scene of however many chapters. Um, I think that helped me because I was trying to outline everything from one to there's 54 chapters in this next book, and I would stray and then I would lose my outline in a sense. So really kind of breaking it up by scenes helped me a lot because once I finished that 10th chapter, I already know like what that consisted of and where I'm going.
Mm.
So that helped a lot, but I write like one through however many chapters. I can not the type of author that can skip around.
Mhm.
Some are very like, let me just put a quote in here and then I'll come back and flush it out. Um, I just can't do that. Like my brain works in sequence and that's how I have to write for it to make sense.
Mhm. Gosh. That's cool. Like so when you go to conventions, is it a mix of like you are there to learn and like educate and find new resources at the same time as like having a table and promoting your work? Or is it one or the other?
Yeah, it definitely depends on which convention, like what convention you're looking at. Like
Mm.
for example, I went to Texas in October, and they have like a Get Lit fair, and that is strictly like a book signing fair where they have a lot of authors that just come, authors, readers. Um, in Oklahoma, the Writers Guild puts on what is called Romance Lahoma, which that is specifically for authors. Just learn resources, like connect, build community. And then part of that weekend, they have what is called Red Dirt Romance. So then that is specific to us selling our books. So two
Mm.
separate days, which I love.
That's actually really
Um,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, it was very beneficial. Last year was, or I'm sorry, this year was the first year that I went, and um, again, my husband's like, you're investing, like you're making another, like a bigger community, which just helped meeting authors that, you see on Instagram, but you don't know. And so now it's like you actually have a connection type thing. But just learned a lot about like if you're wanting to go traditional publishing, what that process looks like. That's also where I was able to have the opportunity to pitch my future series ideas to some agents. And then, of course, the day after was our big Red Dirt Romance event where I think we had about like I don't even want to say a number because I don't want to do it injustice, but it was a constant flow of people coming in, which was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Kind of spinning off this, tell us about the writing retreat that you just went to. I saw you post
Gosh.
about that
Mm.
on social media, and I've like honestly have been wanting to ask you about it.
Yeah, it was, so actually, back to connections, those authors were all ones that I met at Romance Lahoma.
How
Um,
Aw.
fun.
yeah, so and again, like, half of them were already on my social media, but we never got to meet face to face, so connections. And we, of course, like, afterwards had a group chat, and we were like, "Let's just go on a writing retreat." All of them are either currently working on, like, their like, a new book or in the editing processes of their current book. And so we were like, "It's fun just to kind of get out and have a weekend dedicated to just working." Because like me, all of them work full time or have things going on in their life. And so we went up to a place in Eufaula, Oklahoma. Don't know if you've
Mm.
ever heard of that, but it has a beautiful lake. And it was kind of like a little town. It's called Carlton Landing. Super
Cute.
beautiful. It was literally like almost like a little hobbit. Like there was just little houses and it
So
was
cute.
um it was adorable. Yeah. So got a lot done. I actually finished my like first rounds of edits there for my third books, was so super it was
Oh,
Whoa.
successful.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So we didn't just eat and talk the whole time. We
That's
actually did do
productive.
work. Yes. Yeah. So it was a good time, super fun.
That is so fun. I've always
It
wanted
was
to do like a
so
reader
beautiful.
retreat. Like I can't
Mhm.
imagine how fun that is. Wow.
Yeah. My biggest fear was that because I'm a talker, you can tell. I was like, I'm not gonna get anything done. I'm gonna be too busy talking. But thankfully, everyone was really like, we had spurts of just like working for an hour and then we go on a walk or something
Oh,
like
so
that.
fun.
So, yeah, they were all
That
great.
Oh.
sounds so dreamy right now.
Hmm.
It was really, it was really nice. I would definitely like if you're ever planning a girls' trip, Carlton Landing is it's
Okay.
so beautiful. And it's just like we
Noted.
had like a big house and they had like a fireplace and they have little places that you can eat there. It's like a little community town. It was adorable.
Sounds
That's
like
cute.
inspiration to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good time and all the gals that I went with were super super fun and nice and so it was just really I'm glad it left the group chat. I'm really bad at, "Oh yeah, that sounds fun. Let's do it." But we actually planned
Mm-hmm.
it and we went and it was a good time.
Sweet.
That's
Oh,
so, so
that
fun.
sounds
I
really
know. Now I want to
fun.
go do that.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm curious, like, what is your, I mean, that sounds like a dream. What's like your typical writing environment? Do you write at home or do you go to a coffee shop or what?
I typically write at home. My husband actually was kind enough. He built me a whole little setup to write in our room.
Oh.
Because my first book was actually drafted and written on my bed because we had just moved into our house. We have a table out here in the living room, but I just get so, like, if he's watching football, I get invested in football and I can't focus. And so he actually built me a whole little workstation in our room. I'm very spoiled by him, but yeah. But I typically do work at home, and I usually have a playlist, like a romance type playlist playing as I'm kind of working. Um, I attempted to go to a coffee shop, but again, I am just such a people watcher that it did not prove very well for me. I was too focused on like what's going on, and yeah. So home is kind of where I can work. If my dog allows me, that's the biggest, like, that's the second part of that. He is very, like, if I'm not sitting on my desk, he has to be in my lap. And then
Oh.
it's a whole ordeal of like having to get him to lay down just right so I can set my computer on his little back. It's, yeah, he's kind of
That's
like my
that's
little
really
built-in
cute.
table.
Your little lap desk. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. That's so cute.
Oh.
he's a little Cheweenie, let me say that. So he's
A
like,
Chewini.
yes, very
That's so
little, but
cute.
super needy. And
Yeah, I
so,
was about to
yeah, if
say
I'm
clingy.
Yeah, so if I'm not at my desk, like lately, editing wise, I've been, James watches football, I'll sit in there and he has to be in my lap. So then it's like a 5 minute, he burrows. So it's a 5 minute ordeal of him just circling. And yeah.
That's
So I
so
always
funny.
tease him, like, if I'm ever off on my timeline, it's because of my dog's fault, not me.
I would give anything, literally anything, for my dog to be like that right now.
Oh,
She's almost a year old,
oh
and
gosh.
but we just got her like 2.5, 3 months ago, and she's the biggest pain in the butt right now. Like, actually biggest pain in the butt, and all she does is bark, and she doesn't
Mhm.
stop, and she can't sit still, and so you're like, "Oh, you're so cute," and then she'll have, like, a tantrum and run away.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a half pit, and then she's, like, 30 something percent mini Aussie.
Aw.
So, she, like, ran up to us on the street, and then we
Oh,
kept her. Yeah.
Yeah.
aw. I got
She's a
mine at a
rescue.
shelter.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Adopt, don't
adorable.
shop. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. I funny dog story. We wanted kind of like an older dog. We lived in an apartment at a time, so we knew we
Mhm.
didn't want anything big. Like we didn't want to, keep him caged all day. And when I went and looked, he didn't have a name. It literally just said Chowini. Like that
Oh.
was his name on the website. And when I saw him, he was 6 months, so he was kind of like rambunctious. I took him
Oh,
on a
yeah.
walk. He was insane. And so I was like, I called my husband. I was like, babe, I don't know if we should get him. Like he's still a puppy. We'd have to, like potty train him. And I actually was on my way leaving, and he goes, babe, turn around and get that dog because I'm not listening to you come home crying that you didn't get him.
Oh.
Yeah. So we got the dog, and as I'm checking out, they put his name as Dante. Like Dante. I looked at her. I said, "Does he know this name?" I said, "Is this legit?" I was like, "I'm not about to call my dog Dante for his whole life."
Yeah, a
Dante, come
Chowini
here.
too.
Yeah. Thankfully, she's like, "No, I just had to come up with a name." I'm like, "Really, Dante is what you came up with?" Like so random, but
Okay.
he is Rocket, and he is named after.
Oh,
We're huge Marvel fans, so he is named after Guardians of the Galaxy.
so
I love
cute.
that.
Oh,
So
that's gonna
cute.
make me cry thinking about the 3rd movie.
Oh
Like,
my gosh!
Rocket.
Don't even get me started.
No, actually, that's gonna make
I
me
could not.
sad.
Yeah, my eyes were not dry at all during that movie.
Yeah.
No,
Nope.
literally. Most Marvel movies I cry somehow. So, honestly, let's just get into what's next. Like, what are you excited about? I know we've talked about your 3rd book and the audiobook, but give us some insight on the audiobook. I'm super curious about that.
Yeah,
Like, what was that like? I don't even know how you start that process.
I I had people that would be like, "Is your book an audiobook?" And I'm like, "No." One, it can be again investing, and I understand that, but also like I have to be realistic that at some point there I can't just throw money at everything I want to, like realistically.
Mhm.
Um, and getting into an audiobook can be super expensive because they audio narrators charge so many words per hour. It can equal out to $1,500 plus just for a narrator.
Wow.
Um, Thankfully, I again have some authors who were telling me like what they did and whatnot, and so there is through like Amazon KDP, which is Amazon's publishing. They also have a Amazon audiobook, which is called ACX, and they will put it on Audible, which I think is Amazon. Like I think that's connected, and they
Mhm.
also will put it on Apple Books. And so
That's
they're
nice.
super super awesome because you can chat with the narrators, like they audition and they can either say like if they want paid up front or royalty share. So you're not having to put out money first. They just get a portion when you sell books. Um, but they don't do dual narration. And that was like one thing I wanted because it's dual point of view
Yeah.
with Clara
Mhm.
and Liam. I wanted that. Um, Again, TikTok, like power of social media. I found a gal who's actually lives here in Oklahoma who was just kind of like starting out with narration and wanted to just join to kind of use as like this was a book that she did. She wanted to be part of it, so that helped a lot. And then I found a male narrator through Amazon who has been working with me as well. So he will be the one that like uploads all of her audios so that way it still is that dual point of view.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
so super thankful to both of them. They've been awesome, especially because I am again like I ask so many questions. One, it's like it's my first, audiobook, and so I don't know much about like ACX. Thankfully, the male narrator, his name is Noah Trent, and he's been just super helpful with like telling me about the processes because he's been on ACX for a while now, and so it's just been like almost surreal, like hearing your book come to life, and then but also like as an author, it also kind of made me feel better because it's one thing reading it, but like hearing it, it kind
Mhm.
of helps you like, okay, this book is good. Like, you get like
Mhm.
your mind of like self-doubt and stuff. And so it's just been really cool listening to it come to life. Like it's just I never really would have thought that I had an audiobook. Just because personally me, I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks. Like I'm a
Mhm.
physical reader. Um, but I know audiobooks is such a popular way to go now, especially with like commute and whatnot. And so it's really cool just having like another option out there to get your book out there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Hannah's a big
Yeah.
audiobook girly.
And like I'll read and listen at the same time because that just makes it
Yeah.
like a movie for me. Like, so that's super exciting. I'm curious, you said they have to audition. So did they come to you or did you kind of find them and invite them
S-
to audition?
yeah, so it's basically like they can it's like a I'm thinking like a phone book. Like you can literally just scan through people and they have their like projects or like examples on there and you can listen to it. And
Mm.
if you like the fit, then you can just either you can send him a message and that's basically what I did with Noah. I reached out to him. I was like, I really like the sound of your voice. He's actually from Texas.
Oh,
I was like,
fun.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was like, I really like the sound of your voice. I feel like you could be a good fit for like this character. And I also was straight up with them, like, I'm wanting the dual point of view, but my gal, like, I would need your help getting all of the audios on there. And from the beginning, he was like, I would love to be a part of it. His wife loves hockey romance, so that's pretty cool. Um, and he's just been super helpful. So he sent in like the audition and right away I was like, oh, this is my Liam. Like it sounds like him, you know?
Mhm,
I don't know
mhm.
if you guys had seen on my Instagram or anything, like the clips of it.
Yeah, I've
Yes, I
heard.
did.
It
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So and then the gal again found her on TikTok and she was like, yes, I'd love to. And she really gives me Clara vibes as well. Um, and it's really cool because the Noah really wants to just do the whole series, which is awesome. And
Oh,
so,
that's so
Sweet.
nice.
yeah. And he's just really, I told him, I was like, I'm down for it. One, like working with you's been awesome and working with my gal, her name is Run Storm. She's been awesome and I was like, as long as you can make, like, I'm so big on, like, I want my male characters to sound differently for each book. And
Mhm.
it's just, it is insane what narrators can do, like, how they can change their
100%.
voices. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I could never. So it's
And
been
to
a
do it for
really
a whole
cool,
book too,
yeah.
and
I'm like, that is
consistently.
insane. I could not. I've always thought, it's like, let me try to be a voice actor. No, could not. But it's super cool. We're in the talks of the second book, What Now, being an audiobook that we're hoping to start early next spring. So yeah,
Oh
it's
my
just kind of
gosh,
a
so
whole new
fun.
process.
Sweet. That's awesome, MJ. I love that for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too. I'm excited
thank
to
you.
listen to it.
Me too.
Yeah, it is currently set to come out December 15th. So like
Okay,
a few
you're almost
weeks.
there.
I know.
Wow.
Terrifying, but we're almost there.
But it will feel nice to, like, have it behind you though and just, like, have it out there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it's also like one of those live and learn things, like, we know what to do next time and like the process and
Mhm.
the timeline. That's again, I just hate timelines because I'm so big on like I hate setting a date and then if something happens, God forbid that we can't control, I just hate like the what ifs of like, oh my God, what if this happens? Again, can't control them. I've learned that,
Mhm.
but it's just kind of it'll be nice to have one under the belt and see like how the process takes with the review and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about this for myself. It's not even on our list of questions. Give me like what is like the day in the life of being an indie author? Like what does that look like?
Yeah. And of course, everyone's looks different. Some people are
Mm-hmm.
full-time indie authors, which is absolutely amazing. I applaud them because it's a lot of work. For me personally, like I said, I work a full-time job, so I work 8 to 5, and then on my lunch, I'm either editing, writing, or like planning my graphics for the week. So that's what my lunch consists of. And then when I get home, we have been recently getting into like trying to be healthy and whatnot. And so we've been like going to the gym. My husband's on a kick of prepping for a marathon that unfortunately I'm now
Oh my
part of.
gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God is correct.
You've been
We're supposed to
recruited.
go run.
Uh,
Yeah. We're supposed to go run a mile and a half today, and I don't know about in Texas, but it's like 30-ish, I think, degrees here or something.
Yeah,
And
it's cold.
it's time to
but
get
he's
a
on a
treadmill.
kick, and I know. I'm like, we could just go do it at the gym, but it's okay. We're gonna brave it. So we've been getting back into the gym, being healthier, and then my evenings again, kind of like how you mentioned earlier, of like making sure like time and like that you're not neglecting. Like it's so easy for me to get honed in and then forget about like what I should be doing at home, or oh yeah, I need to cook, like things like that.
Mhm.
And so I usually try to give myself like 2 or 3 hours an evening of either writing or editing. And I will say now that my third book is finished writing, it's been a little bit more relaxed with the editing process, and like I can kind of do it as, we're doing other things or whatnot. So it's typically the writing period where it can be very stressful, which is where I'm super thankful that my husband is so supportive, because it really does take all my evenings a lot of times, especially if I'm trying to meet a deadline I set for
Mhm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a supportive partner is super helpful. But it's a lot, and throwing in there the advertising and the creating graphics and different things like that, and it's almost like, where does the day go?
No,
Yeah, I
truly.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also a chronic make social media clips during lunch. So I
Mm,
also do that.
yeah.
And I'll just like sit there and shovel food in my mouth and be on my laptop.
Yeah. And then trying to throw in their time to read, because I love like reading's what got me into writing,
I
so
was
I
gonna
don't want
ask
to
you that.
lose that. Yeah, I am
Yeah.
a very it's hard because I try not to read similar books that I'm writing, because I don't ever want to get like find like like get into that mindset and then like, oh, I like this, and then transition. So I do try to read a little bit different books when I'm in the writing process. Um I think like I started reading some of like Penelope Douglas's books.
Mhm.
So kind of like I try to stay away from that specific like hockey romance, so that I'm just, I don't know, it's like a weird thing for me. But I do still I love reading, and so making sure I'm finding time to incorporate that, because that's where, that's how I got started
That's
writing,
how it
was my
started.
love for reading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gosh,
So
like
yeah.
we even have a book podcast and I'm like struggling to find time to read. And it's like
Yeah,
our job.
It's one of the reasons
it's
why we had
hard.
to step back and only do an episode every other week was because we're like between life and the amount of effort that it takes like to record and then to edit and all the other things, it's like I haven't been able to read any books.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
our fourth job. Like there's a fourth one.
Mhm.
Reading
Yeah,
itself.
reading itself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for me personally, like throwing in, like like book signings, or like traveling to go to
Mhm.
book signings.
Traveling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say like in the mid what so my book releases February 21st. So like from there typically till October-ish. This last year I really probably overbooked myself. Like I was doing probably 3 or 4 signings a month.
Oh my
And so like
gosh.
Mm.
every weekend, my poor husband, I was like, "Hey, FYI, I'm leaving." And so which again, thankfully he's just so supportive, and it's like, go do you. If you're having fun and you love what you're doing, I support you no matter what. But it also was just very exhausting. Like I consider myself an extroverted person, but even my social battery was very like draining at the very end of it. And
Mhm.
Mm.
so live and learn, like I think next year my goal is to do maybe 2 signings a month, and spread them out a little bit more. So it's just it was a lot this year of just traveling, which I love. Like I love meeting readers and new people. But at the same time, like you can't wear yourself out of doing all these things.
Yeah. The trial and error of it all. Time
Yeah,
management, like you said. Big. It's big.
yeah.
What has your experience been with like being such like a big online presence? Like not only are you on like TikTok and Instagram, but like Goodreads, Amazon. Like you are very much throwing yourselves to the wolves. And I know Madeline and I kind of had experience with like ups and downs on social media. I'm just like curious to hear.
How do you respond to like feedback and
Yeah.
Yeah. I thankfully, like, I haven't had any horrendous experiences so far on social media, and if there have been, I'm not aware, you know what I mean? Like, I when I first started, I was dead set on reading every review, like, on Goodreads or Amazon. I was like, "What are people saying?" One, for me, what can I do better? That was how I was picturing it. But at the same time, like, it kind of consumed me there for like the first few months where my first book came out. I was like constantly like, did I get a new review? And then it's disheartening because compared to how many books you sell, there's not as many reviews. So then like I get in my mind of like, okay, if people's not reviewing at all, do they hate it? Like, what does that mean? And so that first few months I was very stuck on reviews. And then I finally kind of told myself, I was like, it, it doesn't benefit me necessarily to wear myself out of like, why am I not getting reviews or what's going on there? And so I've kind of stepped back from reading them so much. Every once in a while, I'll get on there and skim, mainly for like, are there inconsistencies? Are there things that I could do better? That's my biggest thing. But as far as like social media interactions and whatnot, I haven't had anything negative yet. Thankfully. Um, but it can be a scary place. I mean, like you put yourself out there on TikTok and people can either make fun of you or love what you're doing.
Mhm.
And I just kind of again, I just have that mindset of I know not even if people buy my books, it may not be for them. They may not love slow burn. They may not love how I went with it. And at the end of the day, that's okay. Um it's not I wrote it, you know, like for myself to put out there. And if people loved it, that was a plus for me. Like if people loved my books and gained some readers and people loved the series. But I try not to let it get to me because not everything is for everyone and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Feel that. Feel that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the book talk space can be toxic, so I hope that you continue to have only positive experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
I've heard plenty of terrifying stories, but
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
honestly sad to watch. Like, I'll come across something and then you open the comments and I'm like, what's the point of having these spaces if you're not going to use them to like uplift other like creators and authors and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
make
I mean,
sense.
no, and I feel like, you know, as a reader, like there's been books that I read that I haven't liked, but my friend loved them. And that's just like I feel like that is like the point of like book talk community and like reader
Mhm.
community is like bouncing off ideas and like reviews and learning about new books that you want to try. And so when you see like someone post a review, like especially on book talk, and they're getting terrorized for their review, I'm kind of like, what is the this goes against the whole part of a reader's community in my
Mm-hmm.
eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Hannah and I have been kind of interested in getting involved in more like Dallas local book community like events and things like that. Like there's a romance bookstore in Dallas that what was it has book bedazzling every Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And I'm like that's kind of places where you're going to meet like really like people who love to read and
Hmm.
it's not like going to be some toxic online presence. And I feel like that's probably one of the fun things about your book signings that you go to is like finding these readers that are coming back to you and like being excited about your books. That's kind of what I'm hoping maybe one of our goals for 2026 is that we can kind of get out there a little bit more and meet readers somewhere without a screen.
No,
Yeah.
MJ, you like inspired us really.
Mhm.
Like last time we chatted, like I was like, why have we never thought of like going to a convention?
Yeah.
Like for some reason that always felt like exclusive to authors for me,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that there's tons of like events like let me think here. There's like Love on Tap that one of our bookstores hosts and that we have a I'm sure we have a lot of podcasts here in Oklahoma, but one that is kind of out there and like I see a lot is called Book Thoughts podcast and they're based here in Oklahoma and they go to like these convention or not conventions but like signings and whatnot but they'll kind of like film while they're there and so yeah I think it'd be awesome for you guys to that'd be a fun little like a little goal for you guys to do and whatnot so yeah.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, fit it in with all the other crazy life things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I feel life probably hopefully should slow down next year. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
You'll have been working for a year at that point.
Yeah.
We've got this like nailed down. We have a routine at least.
A year flew by, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
it really did. It did.
I like tomorrow's December, and that's terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it
It's
is.
time to go Christmas shopping and I haven't thought about it literally at all. So,
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, well, MJ, we've like loved talking to you, and I think now just give us and our readers just one last like plug for all your things. I know you have like an Etsy shop. Where can they find you? Where they can follow you? All the good things.
Yeah. So both my books, so What If and What Now, What If, just like a little tidbit about each of them. What If is a friends to lovers slow burn about Liam and Clara. He's always been kind of head over heels for his best friend. She's always been oblivious. And after a huge fallout, they're forced back together again. And then What Now is kind of one of my favorite tropes. It's a brother's best friend forbidden romance,
that's
about
right.
Jake and yeah, about Jake and Leah. So she's the younger sister of Jake's best friend and teammate Clay. And then my third book, What Next, which was funny. So earlier he was like, "Tell us what's next." I was like, "Well, what next?"
What's
Like
next?
that's the book. It will be coming out February 21st. I'm super excited for this one. I think that it's probably my favorite that I've written so far.
Aw.
Um, but it's a friends to lovers slow burn, of course. It's a teach me romance. So Paul is our hockey playboy, and his best friend Susie struggles with self confidence. And so he is helping her with everything in relation to that, and things turn a little bit more personal. And so the line of what's real and what's fake start to blur and kind of go from there with their stories.
I'm
So
blushing.
Yeah.
I will say it's definitely my spiciest out of the three so far. And also just like a lot of things like how we were talking about earlier of just learning, I am using a whole new formatting system with this third book, which just
Mhm.
makes it look a little bit more, I would say, just like aesthetically pleasing to the eye. And so I'm just kind of really excited. My cover was revealed this past Friday, and
Oh,
my best
fun.
friend, yes, my best friend really knocked it out of the park with this one. It's probably my favorite cover so far. So the first two books are available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. My Etsy shop, which for listeners today, there is a code that they can use to get $5 off. And you guys will put it, I think, at the bottom, but it's just going to
Mhm.
be check this book out, and we'll do just the 25 year. So they can get $5 off my Etsy shop for signed copies today as
Merry
well.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
That's very generous.
Oh yeah, I love doing like little fun things because then it's like, readers who are listening, they get something special.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the copies through my Etsy shop, they come signed, and they come with all the little like fan art and bookish goodies that I do
Oh,
at signings
fun.
as well. And from there, we're just gearing up for my audiobook, which is December 15th, and my third book, which is February 21st.
Can't wait.
So exciting.
That is so
It's a
exciting. Hey, this is
busy,
a busy couple months for you.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I am really, so right now my third book is going through beta reading from
Mhm.
a reader of mine. And hearing how excited I was excited for it, but I'm the writer. But hearing how excited she is for it makes me, it just kind of makes you
Aw.
feel good. And so, um, yeah, I will be also, if anyone that's listening is interested into ARC reading, at this point, I think when this is aired, it will be available on my Instagram bio where they can sign up to ARC
Okay.
read if that's something anyone's
Great.
interested in.
Yeah.
Sweet.
100%. That's a great
Yeah.
plug.
This is so exciting.
This
I'm
is
I'm
fun.
thrilled for you. You're hitting the ground running in
Well,
2026.
I thank you. Yeah, I am such a huge like reading series. I don't want people to like lose interest. And so my goal for every book is under a year. And so what what now, what next, what now? What now? What now published in April, and so I wanted to be under a year with it wrapping in February. So
Wow.
yeah.
You're dedicated to your readers. That's honestly great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
I
love that.
try.
So that means maybe we can expect book 4 before the end of the year or January
Mm.
I mean,
2027.
We won't
ideally,
put
like,
that pressure on you.
yeah. Ideally, though, like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, if I'm following my timeline, like, it would, like, original timeline would be before the end of the year. So I'm like, it just is crazy because it goes by so fast,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
fast.
it really does.
But
And this
I,
your writing journey started in 2024, right? That's kind of what
yes,
it took off.
yeah, I started writing January 2024. I read all my books in December, all the hockey romances. I just like went on a craze of anything like romance and started writing in January. And then I published my first book in July. So
Wow.
like year
Wow.
wise, I'm like, wow, this is like it's gone by, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like
Mm-hmm.
such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but talking like other authors and whatnot, like I know people who have like 15 books out. I'm like, wow, and they're like coming out with 3. Like one of my author
Dang.
friends said she's coming out with 8 next year. I'm like, that is my reaction exactly. I'm like, girl, you are a
She,
workaholic.
yeah, no,
But I'm like,
literally.
good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't. But I've always heard like there's like this author tale where it takes about 5 books. It's kind of like the consensus of like it takes 5 books and then things start kind of like picking up is kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I've heard from others. Um, but then you have some authors who like write their first book and it just blows up. And so I think it's really cool how different journeys are. But I'm always thankful for mine and where I'm at.
Yeah,
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. Love that. We're so excited for you.
We are.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad that I got to be on your guys' podcast. This is always
Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah.
Maybe when the third book comes out, we'll wrap around.
that's right.
Literally.
That is right. We will be definitely promoting for you and reading your things and listening and all everything as you continue to grow and release. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys. I hope next year I see a video of you guys at some type of signing convention.
I know. You need to hold us accountable. We
Yeah.
are gonna do it. We are going to do it. We are gonna get ourselves out there,
Yeah.
try new things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I'm excited to see where you guys go with your podcast.
Oh,
Thanks.
thanks.
Well,
Well, then I think we
we
can
can
wrap
wrap it up.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Madeline Bookout.
And I'm Hannah Bookout.
And I'm MJ Hughes.
And this is the Check This Book Out podcast. You guys can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Check This Book Out Pod. And join us 2 Tuesdays from now for our next episode. And I think that's pretty much it.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you so much, MJ.
yes.
Thank you guys so much. This was fun.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.